Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, the situation is serious, very, very serious. Yes, American President Donald Trump is truly overwhelmed by the situation. The doubt, he had that doubt that was both skeptical and rational about the effectiveness of bombing the site. The three nuclear sites, especially the Fordo site in Iran, has been confirmed. It was a very bitter failure, a failure he just can't accept. So much so that Donald Trump can't accept it. Donald Trump wants to move on to another stage. Yes, that is to say, he wants to sow total chaos on Iran's side. He's now talking about regime change in Iran. Yes, but I still keep asking myself the question. I don't know if you ask yourself the same question. After all the studies I've done, I've never seen a single instance where a state has the right to demand regime change at the head of another state when that regime is legally established. Yes, even if it is abnormally established, the state is sovereign. The different states of the world, each state chooses the type of political system it wants. If you want to adopt a dictatorship in your country or a monarchy, you can do so. Morocco, Great Britain. It's the monarchy that decides what. By what right does Donald Trump start thinking that the regime in Iran needs to be changed? Why? Because those who are there, he can't do anything against them, and these people are determined. They are determined, I'm telling you. You know, the former Iranian president, Ibrahim Raisi, they sent him to eternal rest. They sent him to eternal rest because they didn't want him to collaborate closely with Russia, because he was working very hard on that. He was the one who started all these efforts. He was working hard to fight against the Westerners. And now, he's gone. The one who has come to take his place is even worse than Ibrahim Raisi. His soul rests in peace. And now, he's calling for regime change. That means everyone currently in power in Iran needs to be removed. But now, the Iranians have been indoctrinated. Ladies and gentlemen, how did Donald Trump make this statement? And what could be the geopolitical implications of this statement? That's what we are going to discuss in this video conference, which I ask you to share as much as possible. Share it and give lots of hearts, lots of likes. Yes, and above all, don't forget to leave your various opinions in the comments. Let's dive deep. The situation is serious, and I will always be here to give you information that is clear, straightforward, precise, concise, and thoroughly analyzed. As long as you keep sharing, I will always have the courage. So, Donald Trump made this statement on social media. He wrote on his platform, Truth Social. He says this: it is not politically correct to use the term regime change. He himself says it, you see. He says, it is not politically correct to use the term regime change. He himself admits that politically it's not even correct. He continues. He says, but if the current Iranian regime is incapable of making Iran great again, why shouldn't there be a regime change? Let me repeat. He says, it is not politically correct to use the term regime change. Since he himself knows it, no other state in the world can impose, on the United States of America, at least to impose on the United States of America to change its regime. He knows exactly what he's doing here. Is he making America great again? But no, after his strike, we saw senators, representatives, members of the House of Representatives and the Senate come out to criticize, to say that he violated the American Constitution. He should have gone through Congress, obtained authorization from the American Congress. He didn't do it. People could call for his removal, regime change. But by what right does he claim to demand regime change in Iran? He says, but if the current Iranian regime is incapable of restoring Iran's greatness, why shouldn't there be regime change? And then he puts MIGA at the bottom. MIGA refers to his slogan, make Iran great again. The way he's mistaken The way Iran is great again right now, the greatness of Iran that has just been displayed through the efforts of the current leaders. Never before had Iran reached such an intolerable, ruthless, and unforgivable level of power. Yes, to the point of bringing the United States of America to its knees. No, and the Iranian people are proud of their current regime. They are proud to restore Iran to its greatness, to make Iran great again. Listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I often like you to share our video conferences. The information we provide here beyond just the information is the analysis that you need to pay attention to. When you share with our friends, our brothers, especially those in Africa, I really insist on this. It helps them open their eyes to be aware, to understand how the world we live in actually works. It's because back then, we didn't know how our world worked. That's why there was colonization and so on. That's why they have always worn us down. But for some time now, we've started to understand things. Have you seen what's happening in the AES? And for mindsets to awaken, people need to receive the right information to understand how the world works. Take a good look. Ladies and gentlemen, he says, if the current regime is incapable of restoring Iran's greatness, what greatness is he talking about? Honestly, between you and me, ever since we've all known Iran, Iran has always been playing its games with, what's their name, Israel. But this is the first time Iran is showing its true power, its greatness. So when he says, the current regime is incapable of giving Iran its greatness, on the contrary, he wants a regime that is submissive to his authority and to Western authority. That's what they call restoring Iran's greatness. But it's the same thing they've always done with African states, unfortunately. If it's an African state, they quickly bomb the presidential palace. That's why many African heads of state are afraid. They quickly bomb the presidential palace and that's it. They prepare another man. As soon as they bomb, they say no, a coup d'etat has taken place. But it's with America's help. That's how they change regimes. So, here is the statement he made. And this declaration is widely distributed. Iran hasn't responded yet, but even partially, Iran had almost already responded. When the Iranian president and the people came out, that was already an anticipated response. But there will be another response. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story in the news. Please share it as much as possible. And I'll be back with more news for you shortly, by the grace of the Almighty. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.